Oh, yes. Here we are back again. WWE storylines. My name is Michael, also known as Flex Mike. I'm here in Texas, where it is not as blistering hot as it usually is. Everything is good. Just kind of doing our thing here. And the man on the other side of the glass, a man who needs no introduction, but I will give him one anyway. He is the thesaurus of all things pro wrestling, the dictionary, the any other word that I could use there to describe his genius when it comes to professional wrestling. He is none other than the Snowman. What's up, brother? How are you?
What's up, Flex Mike? What is up? Oh, it is a good day. Up here in Washington, it's kind of hot, but I got the AC on, so I'm cool. It's all cool.
Right. So we see that you're back. You're back from Disneyland. You're back in the cave. You got the American flag behind you, and you're doing your thing there. So it's
Yeah,
good to
I'm
see you
back.
back in your domain there.
Yeah, I'm back home. Vacation was awesome. I needed that time to recharge for the upcoming seasons. So I just needed that recharge. So it was good. I just needed it. But now we
All
could get
right.
back. Now we could get back down to business back at home base.
And as you can see, I got myself another cold brew here. Just got to keep the energy high, rocking and rolling. I was kind of sluggish all day, so I'm doing my thing here. So before we get going, I'm assuming you got a chance to catch the Raw and the SmackDown and all that good stuff leading up to today. I mean, I guess it's not
Mhm.
leading up because we're not talking about the current wrestling. We're talking about some other things. But
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
anything crazy stand out to you?
Well, besides Drake getting his title back or getting the title 24/7 title back, and then him and his wife running, in the backstage trying to get out of Dodge quick as hell.
Yeah, they're looking to consummate their marriage, right?
Finally, thank God, they can finally
Right.
get this over with.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, besides actually the really one big thing that I thought was awesome is we have new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Yeah. And
Hey,
who is that?
Seth and the Braun
Right.
is Seth's the double champion for the third time. And they will have a title. They're gonna have a title match at Clash of Champions, but one on one for the Universal title. And not only that, they're defending the tag team titles on the same night against Ziggler and the glorious Bobby Roode. So
Nice.
Seth's pulling double duty again on Clash of Champions,
Hey,
pay per view.
you know what the name of that Dolph Ziggler Bobby Roode tag team is, right?
What?
Well, I don't know if it's an official name, but it's a name that I'm giving them that I heard somewhere. Team Rudolph.
I didn't realize we were in December already.
Yeah, we're just warming up. We're getting there. We're getting there. So um, so
I would have thought it would have been more like a glorious Ziggler.
right. Okay, so we got it here. Top 15 WWE storylines. Today we're talking about number 13, which is what, Snowman? Tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, we are going to stay in 1999, and we're going to actually stay in August. We're going to cover SummerSlam from maybe a couple weeks before SummerSlam, all the way through to Unforgiven 1999, and a very weirdish kind of situation between a lot of superstars. But this will be the showing of the rise of Triple H as a main event player, as his first and start of his second reign as the WWF champion. So this is going to be a very, very fun show to go down
Right.
today.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it here. I got some notes here, and we'll do this thing just kind of how we did it last week, and we'll go show by show, pay-per-view by pay-per-view, and really explain this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start at the beginning. So we have Austin versus Triple H, 1999, right?
Yep. Well, we're back. I have a little bit of a back note because so that I could fill in a little bit of a gap. So we're not just going to go straight. We'll talk about straight Austin. As champion. So
Oh,
Austin.
hold on real quick before you get going there. So
Yeah.
you wanted to just kind of like get a little bit of backstory so our viewers and listeners and stuff can
Yeah. So
understand where we're at.
yeah. So they're not like
Okay.
scratching their heads like, wait, what? What are we talking? So
Right.
I'm actually going to talk about the last pay-per-view, which will be, and I'm going to let y'all know this is going to be part of another episode down the line because it was so awesome. But I'm not going to get into too many details, but The Rock and Triple H went at it in Fully Loaded in 1999 in a fully loaded strap match for the number one contendership for the WWF title at SummerSlam later that coming month or next month. And Triple H wins. He has an awesome match there, and I'll talk about it at another date on the list. And then Austin was in a big feud with Undertaker, but he was also also mitigated to be, how do I want to say it, linked with McMahon around this time. So Austin and Undertaker have a first blood end of an era match for the WWF title, in which if Austin won, Vince McMahon would be gone from the WWF. They would not be seen again. But if Undertaker had won, then Austin could never attempt to go for the WWF title in his career ever again. So that match was first blood. It was very much very barbaric and just awesome Undertaker. And this was an Undertaker match during a time where he was the Ministry. This pure, he was evil. So Austin wins, and with a little help from X-Pac and a steel chair and the camera, but he gets it done. He wins, and Austin's champion. And Triple H will come out, at the end of his match, during, pandemoniumless chaos with Undertaker still attacking the ref, attacking Austin. He goes and leaves. Triple H comes out and attacks Austin. And it just keeps setting this thing up for the eventual SummerSlam that we're going to get to. And that's, that was fully loaded. So the next night on Raw, which is August 9th, we're now getting into the SummerSlam feel. SummerSlam was being announced as an out-of-body experience where Jesse the Body Ventura, the Minnesota governor, has been announced as the guest referee for the WWF title match between Austin and Triple H. Well, in great Jesse the Body Ventura action, which his theme song was the actual theme for the pay-per-view. So it was a good, great way to, it was a great theme on its own. If you go back and listen to SummerSlam 1999, on YouTube, or if you find it on YouTube, listen, it's a really good theme with Jesse the Body Ventura and how he was. He was a very flamboyant wrestler back in the 80s, and he was a color commentator along with Vince McMahon, for Saturday Night's Main Event, and then he went off and became the governor of Minnesota. So that was awesome to have someone that famous be running a state at that time in 99.
Right, that was incredible, and I believe when they did like a Raw, I don't know what they called it, Raw reunion or Raw whatever.
Yeah.
Jesse Ventura was out there as like the guest commentator, and then he called out Vince because they were like the original like duo.
Broadcast team.
Yeah, bro. He had her like on a red bow tie and all that good stuff.
Yeah, actually, that was during when Raw was being guest host, by like different celebrities at that time. I want to say 09 or 10, but yeah, that was when Raw was being handled by like guest celebrities too. They'll come in, they run the show kind of mentality. And Jesse was brought in right before TLC to make a battle royal to determine a new number one contender. And he was, commentating that night, and McMahon was there. So he's like, what, Vince, tonight we're gonna be back behind the mic. You're not gonna be running the company like like you are now. And so you're running out with me. You're coming out with me. And he comes out with, he does come, don the red bow tie. And it's funny how he just walked with his little strut to the announce table, but his theme was awesome because it was obsession for the Saturday night's main event. If you can find it on YouTube, which WWE Network is not going to have on there because it's copyrighted, but because they have their WWE dub version on there. But if you go on and YouTube, search Saturday night's main event, theme, you can hear its obsession, which was a great theme for the opening. It was awesome.
Right. The reason I even mentioned that is because I saw it earlier today. I think it was on like Instagram or I was on YouTube or something like that, and I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So that was really cool. So okay, well, what do you say we jump into this thing here?
All right.
So you want to start at the let's see, the August 9th, 1999 Raw. Is that where you want to start?
Yeah. So again, Jesse the Body Ventura has been announced that he will be Law and Order in the main event at SummerSlam in Minnesota because he is the governor. So he's saying that I have the power, and the only way someone is going to be the champion is if they pin in the ring, because unlike these other people that are crooked and everything, you know there's going to be a legitimate undisputed champion at SummerSlam. Well, Triple H is not going to doesn't like what Ventura is saying. And you got to think, Triple H at this time, he's done with DX. He left them. He went corporate. And then he joined with, he was still with the corporation when it went to the corporate ministry. And then he got into this, he was starting to get into this role of, okay, I'm no longer, the team player. I need to get into the game mode, the Triple H that we're starting to know now of it. I'm the cerebral assassin. I'm the game. And, I'm a student of the game. So this was along with China at the time, God rest her soul, because,
Yeah.
she was unbelievable person. To see on with Triple H and how her career evolved from DX all the way through to her last appearance on WWE and even on TNA for that short stint. But
at this point, he's taking all of the like necessary steps to present himself as like the new top guy. Like
yes,
he wants to be that guy.
yes, he's saying that it's my time now. It's all about me. So now he's, gonna, get into the face of Jesse the Body Ventura, a governor and someone who is very well renowned in WWE because of how he was in the 80s when he was there. Just this no nonsense, Navy SEAL. And he made it so that he stated that I am a true born Navy SEAL. That is an actual wrestler. So
Okay.
after, a little back and forth with, this is, Triple H is, saying that this is my ring. Well, for Jesse, it's his ring. This ring is in his world. But
So
it,
it's in his hometown, his state, all that good stuff, right?
mhm,
So he's got some ownership stake there, but Triple
he's
H is
got
in the ring saying, "No, like I'm running this because I'm the guy."
yeah, I mean, in layman's terms, he's got some stroke.
Right.
He's got more stroke than Triple H. But after a little bit more bucking and forth, we get an appearance by the commissioner, HBK, the only person in WWE who has as much stroke as the owner at that time, because Shawn Michaels, again, he was out. He's done. This was a time period where he was done with wrestling. He his back was he didn't get his back was out of commission, so he just went into this commissionership role. So this was a great timing, great time period for to still see HBK, but in a authoritative figure way and in a funny kind of way, to where we could still see him, but he's not wrestling because of how awesome he was.
Yeah,
Um,
and we've seen a lot of wrestlers like that over the years who have had like kind of like more serious injuries, whether it's like, HBK, it's happened to a few times just because of the amount of like back surgeries and stuff that he's had. But like you saw it with Stone Cold with some of his knee stuff that was going on that,
and his neck.
the WWE kind of made him like, oh, he's the GM or he's the commissioner or
The
whatever to
Yeah,
keep
the
him on
sheriff.
TV. Yeah.
Yeah, also with his neck, which will be, later, another episode. But so HBK, is basically telling him, hey, you you might this might be this might be your ring, but I'm the one who brought you into this world,
Right.
because everyone knows I'm the one who did it. So that night he makes a triple threat match to get even with Triple H at this time, to get even with him and put him in a triple threat match with The Undertaker and Stone Cold for later on that night.
Right.
So, and after a little bit during the show, we see Austin. For some reason, he gets KO. He's knocked out at the bottom of a flight of stairs with a cinder block right next to his head.
Yeah.
And it,
Which
and
would
we're all like,
probably kill you instead of just knocking you out. It would probably
yeah,
kill you.
it would kill you. So, he gets attended by EMT. He gets, sent off to the hospital, and we see HBK, checking in on Austin. It's like, what happened and everything. Triple H shows up. It's like, what'd you do? Why'd you do this? Like, I'm blaming you. So HBK heads back out to the ring. Is like, who are we gonna blame for? As you just saw, Austin's going to the hospital. But who can we put the blame on this? Who would do such a thing to someone? And I'm gonna blame Triple H.
Yeah.
So Triple H comes back out. It's like, I didn't do anything. I was not there, but just convention. It's like, I'm innocent. Well, Shawn Michaels says, hey, you're still going to wrestle tonight, but instead of just being a regular triple threat match, now it's going to be a triple threat match for the #1 contendership at SummerSlam. So now it's Triple H versus Undertaker and someone that would probably want to stab their own family member in the back for this one chance.
Right.
And that one person would be China. It's like, and the funny thing is, you see Hunter's face like, what? Wait, like, hold up, timeout. Okay, it's all funny games. This is for the #1 contendership at SummerSlam for the WWE title. China's just a girl. She could get hurt. It's like, and China's in the background just like looking at him like, what in the blue hell are you doing? Excuse me,
Right.
I'm just a girl. It takes the mic out of Triple H's hands. It's like, just a girl. Yeah, no. I'm going to take you up on that offer, Commissioner, and I'll be in that triple threat match tonight.
Right, because like she's I mean her whole gimmick and her whole thing is like, "Oh, I'm not like biologically I may be just a girl, but like that's, you know, like I'm out here suplexing dudes and like beating up dudes, so you need to respect me on like a new level.
Yeah, that's why she's known as the ninth wonder of the world. The first
Exactly.
person to ever be in the Royal Rumble as a, as a woman. She's the first person. So,
Right.
And for a chance to get the WWF title, of course you would think China's going to jump all over that on a
Right.
heartbeat.
For
Even
sure.
even kick Triple H right in the low blow him for everything. So we get
Get him in the gonads, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
just just right behind and just go shing.
Yeah.
So main event happened. We get to main event that night, and China's just trying to interject herself. It's Undertaker, just like pushed her aside, and they're fighting it all out, and they're starting to treat China like a man, like beating her up. So eventually, and then near the end of the match, Triple H is on the outside. Austin makes his return. Comes back from the hospital.
Right.
Knocks Hunter out with the chair. Boom. China's is knocked out cold at this time. Knocked out. Pulls her over Triple H, and Sean. And this match was a Falls Count Anywhere match. So it anything happened. Anything could happen, and the pinfall happened anywhere. And right outside the ring, you see this 1, 2, 3, and China's now the official #1 contender for the WWF Championship at SummerSlam against Austin.
And Triple H is livid.
Oh, you gotta think he's been fighting, from King of the Ring 99 to 1999 to to Fully Loaded, to get the opportunity to have it slip from his grasp again.
From the
I would be pissed.
Yeah, from the least likely person that he thought he was going to have to go into a match against, also someone he looked at as
an
as
ally.
like an ally, yeah, a friend or whatever. So okay, so that ends that episode of Monday Night Raw. That was August 9th, 1999, in case there's someone that wants to know which one that is. And so we move on to the next Monday, which is August 16th, 1999. And then what happens? What do we got here?
So Triple H is still livid. He calls out, China. It's like, okay, let's call a spade a spade. You're the ninth wonder of the world for a reason. But you need to remember who brought you into this universe, who brought you into this world, and that was me, you ungrateful. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say the B. I'm not gonna say the B word, but it was the B word.
Not necessary.
It rhymes. It rhymes with witch.
Yeah. So the a little bit of a backstory, Snowman. Just kind of tell the people. The WWF fans at this time are introduced to China by way of DX, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Like the first time anyone saw her, she showed up.
She was introduced. Actually, she was with Hunter, but this was 97. This was when he was still the blue blood.
Right.
that big old robe and the curtsy.
He was like, yeah, he was like the royal. His gimmick was kind of like a prince type gimmick or something.
Yeah,
like that.
like a royal decree, like kind of like a shoot. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's something like of royalty, but someone like you would see at a country club. He would be
just like real
playing polo.
Yeah, he was just real
fancy,
like white
Regalist.
Collar and proper and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So but he had this, he just had random chicks every week. Even had Sable for a quick stint.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dumped her, and then he was in a quick little. I don't want to say quick, but he was in a promo with Goldust and Marlena, and all of a sudden you see this big jacked up woman just ragdolling and stalking Marlena, and we see China for the first time, and it's unbelievable that this big jacked up woman is literally just tossing this little woman of Marlena, Goldust's wife at the time, and just shaking her like a rag doll. I mean, if you see WrestleMania, I want to say WrestleMania. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but at one of the pay-per-views, you just see her just shake this small little twig and just convulsion. So Hunter gets, they make DX with Shawn Michaels, and she naturally joins with them because she's still with Hunter. And Rick Rude joins the fold as Shawn Michaels' insurance policy. Another one, his third insurance policy at the time. And it was a great rendition of, the inaugural edition of D-Generation X, because you had Shawn Michaels, who was just, no longer given a damn what everyone else thought. It was just doing whatever he wanted to do. And he had his buddy Triple H with his side. And China, who's just, standing there all not intimidated by anyone, even Austin, getting the bird right, even flipping the bird off to Austin at No Way Out No Way Out of Texas.
Right.
So this was a bad chick you didn't want to mess with, because she can really hurt the family jewels and make you pay.
Yeah, so not to get too sidetracked there. Tough chick, obviously. Okay, so let's go back to what we were talking about. So Triple H says, let's call a spade a spade. Okay, he calls her out. They're in the ring. Then what happens?
They have an impromptu number one contenders match for SummerSlam. And Mankind eventually comes out and, clocks Hunter on the ring apron with some steel steps, and China retains her number one contenders ship, her status for SummerSlam. Well, Mankind then comes, is like, hey, I want a piece of actually at SummerSlam. If you've got the ovaries,
Ovaries,
and I've got the testicular fortitude, and my boys, let's have a match right here tonight for the number one contenders match. Well, China kind of gives her version of the no answer in low blow, and says, yeah, no.
You could see that one coming a little bit.
A little bit, especially when you see the look in China's face to change from a into a But eventually Shane McMahon comes out. He's the authoritative power. He's the representing McMahon in power now that Vince is gone, and makes the match Triple H, Mankind versus China. HBK makes the title makes the match later. Yes, that these two will happen. Mankind, they have a good, good match. Quick, it was on the Raw, and then Mankind wins, is now the new number one contender at SummerSlam. Well, Shane doesn't like this, because now he's back as the authoritative figure, and makes an impromptu main event match, Mankind versus Triple H for the undisputed, acknowledgement that they're the number one contender for Austin at SummerSlam. And to make sure that it's called right, Shane will be the special guest referee, and then HBK interjects and puts himself as a referee, as special guest referee.
So there
for the
wasn't,
main event match,
just to make sure that there wasn't a referee playing just one side of the table. You had a ref for each side. Okay.
Yep, we had two special guest referees that night for the main event. And there's even before I continue with this, there was even a little highlight of this night, because we talked about this on the last podcast, because on the August 16th edition of Raw was the debut of the new millennium, the man we would soon known as Chris Jericho.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, he makes his debut on this night
Okay.
and cuts that epic promo with The Rock. So I just figured
Yeah.
for anyone that's going to be watching this show later, like, oh, this is the night we get to see Chris Jericho come out, and the countdown clock, to the new millennium happen. So back to the original.
Okay,
original
so we have the match with HBK and Shane as refs, right?
Yeah, with Triple H and Mankind,
Right.
as with Shane and HBK as refs.
Right.
And this match was good. I'll give it that. It was a good match. It ended in a awkward way. It ended with both men getting a pin on each other. So we had a double pin, which Shane counted Triple H, Mankind's shoulders to the mat. HBK counted Hunter's shoulders to the mat, and they both raised each other's hands.
Right.
So we don't know who's the definitive number one contender. Well, later on, I want to say either Livewire or Superstars, because like on one of the Saturday morning shows or Sunday morning shows, that the definitive decision was made by Linda McMahon, because Vince was not there, because he can't be on TV, he can't be involved with WWF affairs, that the decision was made that it would be at SummerSlam a triple threat match for the WWF title, Triple H versus Mankind versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So bam, you got your you got your main event right there for the title, right?
Yep, and that's how we set up SummerSlam, the out-of-body experience, August 22nd at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay, so SummerSlam, August 22nd, 1999, we have the WWF Championship triple threat match. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Triple H versus Mankind. Did you announce who are referees in this match?
Just one. It is the reigning governor of the state of Minnesota, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Okay, so take us into that match. How does that match go?
That match was, it was a great match. Maybe not for Stone Cold, because this was a time frame where on the outside looking in, it was, we weren't seeing him a whole lot after this, because he was starting to wear down from the neck, neck problems that he's been having. So I will give it that. It was a great match, to see how Triple H was going to work and how he was, getting his build to become the main events, that we all know now. And with it being a triple threat match, with being no disqualification, there has to be a winner. And the only way that Jesse the Body Ventura was going to count someone was the pin has to happen in the ring. So Austin gets, pedigreed by Triple H. Triple H is getting set ready to pin, Austin. Mankind comes in, cold clocks Hunter to knock him off, gives Austin the double arm DDT, pins him in the middle of the ring, and we have a new World Wrestling Federation champion in Mankind. So you got to think, Hunter at this time, he got the number one contenders match at Fully Loaded. He won. He loses it to China, gains it back in the double pin on Mankind the Raw before, and then he loses it by that much, so close to winning the title, and he lets it gets slipped from his hands again.
So he's at
Hun-
this point, he's irate.
he's furious. He just as soon as the title was handed over to Mankind and they're heading up the ramp, Triple H is just gonna go to town on Austin and just take a steel chair and just start going at the knees. Boom. Smash everything just to debilitate Austin at the knees because he has that where his knee braces are. That's why he wears knee braces because he has somewhat of bad knees like hypertension or something. So he has the knee braces. So he targets those knees. And that's how SummerSlam ends is with Austin being skinned by Triple H.
Right. Okay, so Triple H closes the show, basically just beating the snot out of Austin, tearing him up. And then so we move on from SummerSlam and we move to the following Raw the very next night. So Raw, August 23rd, 1999.
And Hunter's still irate. He's still like he wants his title. He wants the title that it should have been his. But of course, it's Triple H. You're not going to expect him to just call out Mankind for no reason. He's going to have to goat him into something, have to force his hand. And how does he do that? By using good old JR, Jim Ross,
Oh,
as a hostage situation by holding, forcing Mankind to come out and, I know Mankind, I know you're back there. If you come, don't come out here. I'm going to hurt, JR. Mankind comes out. It's like, okay, hey, if you hurt him, you don't get your title. I will give you a title. You want a title shot tonight? You don't get if you hurt him. It's like, fine.
right.
And we get this, later tonight we get the match of Mankind versus Triple H for the WWF title. The next night
with
a very special guest referee in one,
right.
Shane O'Mac.
Oh, was that your Shane O'Mac impression right there? You're doing a little hand movement? Oh.
the Shane O'Mac shuffle that he'll be later using down the road.
The strut, the Shane McMahon strut. Okay, so we have a match on Monday Night Raw between Triple H and Mankind with Shane as the special referee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And of course, this is where we see Shane's true colors because he's letting Hunter pretty much get away with murder in this. and at this, during the match, Rock is already out there. The Rock is out there doing color commentary, calling the match, just hanging out, calling the match. And during the match, Mankind, Triple H get outside the ring, and all of a sudden you just see Hunter knock the Rock out with a steel chair, like shut your mouth, and gets
Right.
continues to pound on Mankind to where he throws him back in the ring, pedigrees him, and becomes the new World Wrestling Federation champion on Raw.
On Raw, and we talked about this last week in the podcast, which was the idea of a title changing on TV or at a house show. Not very common for WWF or WWE for that matter. And it's just not something that happens a whole lot. So
yeah, I mean, it's a rare feat.
Surprising.
It's a rare feat. I mean, I believe the more recent house show title change was last year with AJ Styles and the United States title. If I'm not mistaken, it was AJ Styles won the United States title at a house show, and it said it was right before Hell in a Cell or right after. So it was a very sudden impact of change.
Hey, Matt on the stream here wants to know, how do you feel about the quick title change here? Because Mankind, Mick Foley wins it the night before, and then literally like 24 hours later, bam, now Triple H has it.
Well, I mean, you got. I think it's got to be how the situation fits. Because you got to think Mankind is now in this. I wouldn't say main event kind of role that we saw him in '98. He was facing The Rock in the WWF title picture, that kind of thing. He was more, just trying to like, okay, I got like some more time. I got a little bit time left with my body because, yeah, I'm really hurting. The Hell in a Cell from '98 with Undertaker, it's killing me. So '99, if you go back and watch on the network, you see Mankind. He's more like doing tag teams. He's not, a lot of tag team matches. He's not in the main event picture at ISK per se, but he's tagged with The Rock, Rocket Sock Connection. He's tagged with Al Snow. He's tag team
Yeah, and
champions. So
and
he
and at this point he's not very like I mean, you already know this about Mankind, Mick Foley. He's not a natural athlete, and he's not very
no,
graceful. So like any type of bumps or hits and stuff that he's taking, they're like extremely physical, and he has
mhm.
to, just to be the athlete he is, he has to try like super super hard. So
Yeah,
um
but
yeah.
it was a lot better, to have a quick title change the night after on WWE, because at least it's giving more story. It's giving another opportunity for someone who's younger and fresher, especially with Triple H at this time, to grow and to get more people to face that, down the line in his, as his characters being built. But WCW with their quick title changes, if you go back, especially in 2000, oh my God, that WCW title, that big belt gold title. Oh my God, I feel bad for it. It got treated like a $2 hooker, night in, night out. No one that title was so badly changed with but not with Booker T. He was a good champion. Scott Steiner was a great champion because he was the longest one to hold it. But you know, just so many dumb gimmick matches over there where they're changing it off and on, or it's vacated. Someone wins it, vacated. It was
Right.
so bad. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
So,
But
okay, well, so let's move on. We got Triple H wins that night. He wins a title, and then we head to August 26th, 1999, which is the first ever
first,
SmackDown, right?
it is the debut on network television of The Rock Show, SmackDown. This is the debut show. We're gonna kick things off with Triple H in the ring, gloating and say how everyone thought he couldn't do it, how he couldn't win the title. Well, guess what? I have the title. So line them up and I'll mow them down.
And so
Well,
who answers the who answers the call? Hey, I think Matt here on the YouTube stream is trolling you a little bit, because you keep saying the word debut instead of debut, and I think he thinks
eh,
that's a little bit hilarious, but
okay, yeah, haha. I'm having fun with this.
yeah,
But
he knows
but
that. He knows that. Anyway, so who answers
love
the
you, Matt.
call when Triple H is out there gloating and telling everyone how great he is?
None other than the people's champion, The Rock, comes out.
He's
And
got to take over his show, right?
he's got it on The Rock show, on the debut show of SmackDown. He's got to make a challenge to Triple H for the WWF title.
Right.
Well, the only person that could come out and, well, make that type of match that's got the stroke is the commissioner of the World Wrestling Federation in HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And you got to think with this show-stopping match, this main event match, this big of a match, you got to think there's got to be one person to call this match right down the middle. A
Right.
very special guest referee in himself. So we get, that the match is made.
So The Rock, Triple H
and then
versus The Rock, WWF Championship match, right?
Yep,
With
with
HBK
HBK
as
as
the
the
referee.
ref.
Okay.
But after that match is made, Mankind comes out. It's like, I want, talk about how I got about screwing and everything else, what's going on in the WWF. I think I should be in action tonight against Shane McMahon tonight. It's like, all right, you got him. But now we get to Shane. That match was okay. It was, basically Shane McMahon getting his butt whooped by Mankind.
Right.
Basically caught for how he was helping Triple H at Raw, and how he helped him cost Mankind the title. So it's payback. But now
Right.
we get to the main event. Shawn Michaels as the referee for the WWF title. And for the debut of SmackDown on network television, and have The Rock, essentially the two big names from late 99, 2000 and 2001, and everything. Your main event is the two biggest stars. This is going to be a good match. And it was. And this was something that you wanted to tune in on your very first episode to, at that time it was UPN, but now it's the CW network.
Dude, I totally forgot that UPN was even a thing. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, because you gotta think, Raw was on the USA network, still is, even though it went over to TNT / Spike, came back. SmackDown was on UPN, and then it changed to the CW network, and then it was brought over to the USA, or to the NBC network, which was USA, the Sci-Fi, then and NBC network, or USA network. So there was a lot of changes for SmackDown in its 20 plus year. It's 20 years, which has been awesome. So main event happens. Rock is getting ready to, the match was awesome. Rock gets ready to finish off Triple H. He rock bottoms him, sets up for the people's elbow. We think we're going to have a new champion. And what happens? Boom. A little sweet chin music, and The Rock is out cold.
Ooh. He turns on him, huh?
He turns on the people by allowing his best friend to retain the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
Okay, so we see HBK's true colors there, right? So then where are we going next?
We go right into the next Raw, August 30th. And The Rock is, looking for Shawn Michaels. He's going to call him out. Well, he eventually, goes out to the middle of the ring, calls out HBK, and heads back, to look for him in the locker room. It's like, hey, come, Shawn Michaels, I'm looking for you. You Rudy Prue candy ass. But gets attacked by not only Hunter, but Shane and China in the backstage area. So we're seeing, the true colors of Hunter, of where he's trying to eliminate all of his competition. We're starting to see him take out the big guns. Well, now Shane McMahon, as the McMahon in charge right now, makes the match with the whatever's left with The Rock against the Undertaker in a Falls Count Anywhere match. and makes another match for Mankind to face not one, not two, but all three members of Shane O'Mac's running buddies, the Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, those guys were just like some goons basically. They weren't like any
They
like
they
I'm
they
trying to
were
remember who those guys were actually.
Rodney
Um
Mack, Pete Gas,
yeah.
and Joey Abs.
Yeah, exactly. So like a bunch of
So
like typical East Coast wrestler made up names that you would never know outside of that.
yeah, from the mean streets of Greenwich. It's
Yeah.
like if you go back and watch promos of like with how they were hyping up Shane McMahon for I want to say his match with X-Pac, and it was just too funny with Pete Gas and Joey Abs, all these guys, these guys just pumping up Shane McMahon and hyping him up,
And
making him seem like he's a street fighter.
they were wearing like cardigans and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Like real like kind of like preppy style
yeah,
clothes. Yeah.
yeah, like preppy, like sweater shirt, sweatshirts and everything.
Yeah.
It was just too funny with these guys. So, but the caveat is with the Mankind and Rock is that in order to get title matches that later that night, they have to beat or to get a title match with Triple H later that night, you have to win your match. But unfortunately, in both those matches, they lose their opportunity. Big Show, helps with the Undertaker. Actually, he gets substituted for the Undertaker because the Undertaker at this point, from I want to say like a little bit after SummerSlam until right before Unforgiven, he was kind of fighting an injury. At this time, he was wearing down, especially with the ministry gimmick, if you would say.
So Matt on the stream here wants to know if I'm interpreting this correctly. He wants to know about Pete Gas and Joey Abs. I mean, like, what's
Yep.
going on here?
Yeah, the Main Street Posse.
Those are the
Shane O'Mac's
boys.
boys.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Undertaker at this time, he was wearing down in his Ministry, of Darkness area where he was still there, but he was trying to he's teaming with Big Show and they're the Unholy Alliance. But he's taking Big Show under, his wing and is making him a little bit more aggressive, makes him look meaner, especially when you got Undertaker with you. It's like, okay, I'm not going to mess with him now that he's got Taker with him, even
Right.
though he's 7 foot tall and 500 pounds.
Right.
That's a bad mixture right there anytime. But so in the Falls Count Anywhere match, Undertaker gets subs in Big Show, and he's sitting on commentary. Well, Rock eventually gets on the mic during the match and starts talking smack with Undertaker, eventually hits him in the mouth, and both of them just go to town on Rock, and Big Show just choke slams him through a table, through the announce table, of course, and pins him. So Rock gets no title shot.
I was about to say that's pretty much a wrap. You take a choke slam through an announcing table, and that's pretty
From Big
much
Show.
it. Yeah, from Big Show. That's pretty much it.
So that, and in Mankind's match, well, obviously with the Mean Street Posse and Shane McMahon as a special guest referee, which he made himself, of course, because he wants to stick it to Mankind. It's like, hey, if you touch me, I'm a WWF official. I will disqualify you. Well, you smell a screw job there, and he got one because Mankind gets screwed out of a title shot. So later in the night, middle of the night after their matches happen, they both Rock and Mankind come out. It's like, you know what, Big Show, Taker, I want a match with you for the in a handicap match. I don't care. I just want a piece of you. Mankind comes out. It's like, you know what, I want to tag with you. And let's go for the make it for the WWF title match, WWF tag team titles that night. Let's make it a tag team title match and let's beat these guys as one part of the best tag team we can, as ever with the Rock and Sock connection.
The Rock and Sock connection. I remember that. That was so classic back in the day. I loved it because you could tell that The Rock really wasn't about it. Like he wasn't. He was like, the weird smelly kid at school's trying to be my best friend, and I'm not into it. So,
but eventually
he
he hangs with me, and then we become good, somewhat friends.
Right.
But they have a great match, and on that night, and they win the WWF tag team titles. And the Rock and Sock connection's born. So now we get to SmackDown, the second episode, and Hunter's still on this trip. Yeah, Sacco. He's still on this trip with Shane and China, to just run roughshod. Well, Shane has the brilliant idea of you need to face someone that is, just as, impressive as you, who's a champion as well, and is a very big name in this industry. And you're thinking, what the heck are they talking about? And all of a sudden you just see him, in the back, just on the door as a very, very bad, funny joke and a shot across the bow to a WCW on the door. And you see Gilbert. You see the light heavyweight champion at that time, Gilbert. The mocking of Goldberg in WWF.
Right. Was so classic.
And it was for the WWE title that night. Just to make fun of, just to give Hunter an easy victory. But Gilbert at that time, everyone knows Gilbert, for wrestling fans. A mocking of Goldberg for WCW. They would, have him come out, just come out with sparklers, guys standing on the stage with sparklers to mimic, the standing in fireworks, and then, and then someone coming out with a fire extinguisher. He's like, just scared out of his wit, like, what the heck are you doing to me? But for some reason, he became the light heavyweight champion in the 90s, in late 99 or 98. And it was just too funny. So Hunter wins his tough match.
Obviously,
I can't do it with a straight face. I can't do it with a straight face.
So Gilbert was basically like 5'8", 130-pound, like old looking dude. Yeah, probably less.
Soaking wet.
Yeah, just tiny. Came out there, obviously just gets his butt kicked. So then we move on from there, and we have what do we have? The next match we have on the same thing is your Rock versus Mankind, right?
Yep, we're going to actually try to determine a future number one contender for the WWF title in The Rock and Mankind. And they have a okay match, but it kind of gets tossed out and ruled a double disqualification in which neither of them get a title shot. Another screw job with Shane and Triple H running roughshod.
Yeah, exact way that they want it.
Yep. But they eventually come back out. Shane comes back out. It's like, I gotta make this right. So Rock, Mankind, we're gonna restart this match. Come on out. Try to goat them again. Obviously, it looks like it's gonna be another goat, situation where they come out and they get another ass whooping. Well, that doesn't happen because another McMahon, a Mother McMahon of Linda, the CEO, decides to come out and changes the game plan because Rock and Mankind will not be coming out to face each other. In fact, they'll be coming to face Triple H and you, Shane. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and Shane's like, okay, I know we're getting forced in this, but if we're going to do this, it's for the WWF tag team titles. The titles are on the line. It's like, okay, I'm pretty sure they don't mind putting the tag team titles on the line. And then it happens. And they have a solid match, with Shane McMahon,
Hey,
doing his thing.
just ignore me for a second. I have to adjust my headphones.
Okay. So they have a good match, Shane McMahon and Triple H, they're doing their thing. And eventually Mankind and Triple H, take out Shane and they pin Triple H, and they're still the WWF tag team titles. They're champions. Now we're going to head to the next show of Raw in September 6th. And for some reason, we're going to start this match this night off with The Rock and Mankind putting their tag team titles on the line against the unlikeliest tag team we could ever think at this time. Triple H and Kane. The Big Red Machine and Triple H are tag teaming. And you got to think, it's like, wait a minute. Why are these two guys tag teaming? Especially going for the tag team titles against The Rock and Mankind.
Right.
Well, of course, Triple H being himself and being the, man with the hammer, decides to not really win the tag team, work with Kane, and decides to bash Kane in the back with a sledgehammer. And proceed to cost themselves the tag team titles.
Typical Triple H move here, right? The big red machine, Kane. Matt says right here, the big red machine.
Through hellfire and brimstone. But yeah, you gotta think, Kane and Triple H as a tag team. That would have been a good, pairing, because you got this big red freak who's obviously impervious to pain, and the game who's the WWE champion, getting to it, starting to make his, top of the mountain, area. And that would be a great tag team. But of course, Triple H is like, I'm solo. I'm the WWF champion. I don't need friends. Well,
he's not a friends guy to begin with outside of DX. He's not a guy that you can trust or any of that. As far as most of his storylines go, he's always seemed to turn on somebody or have his own interests, in the back of his mind. So,
well, with the tag team titles secured for The Rock and Mankind, we get a reappearance of Undertaker and the Big Show in the backstage doing a quick little interview. And Undertaker at this point, with Michael Cole, is like, if he was to ask a stupid question or, an obvious question, he would revoke Undertaker would revoke Michael Cole's talking privileges. It's like, okay, you've lost it. Get the heck out of here before I kill you.
I love that.
So, it was funny just to see how he interacted with some of the announcers, but basically makes a challenge for SmackDown for the World Wrestling Federation tag team titles. And not only is it a tag team title match, but it's a very special tag team title match. On The Rock show, we will be getting our very first tag team buried alive match.
Dude, that is so awesome. First of all, because when I was a kid, I loved buried alive matches. I just thought they were cool. The whole setup of we gotta we got to throw this guy into this grave or whatever. I just always loved it. And for years now, I've just been like, man, when are we going to get a buried alive match again? At some point, they got to break that thing back out, you know? And so, like, I remember playing, I don't remember what wrestling game it was. It was on a PlayStation 2. It might have just been a SmackDown game.
Yeah.
Because they just had a SmackDown game back in the day, right? It wasn't SmackDown versus Raw yet.
No, they started out with SmackDown on the PS1, and they had two SmackDown games, SmackDown and SmackDown 2 Know Your Role. Third one went to the PS2, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. The fourth one was SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. And then the last one on PS2 was SmackDown versus Raw. And then it started after SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, it became the Raw versus SmackDown series.
Yeah, so anyway, what I was getting at there is that game was interesting because I went online one day and I found out there was like I don't know what it is, like a cheat code or something like that. But basically, you could unlock the buried alive match on the game, but the only way to do it was to advance the story mode 50 years. So the story mode, you couldn't just advance year by year and just do it 50 times. You literally had to go pay-per-view to pay-per-view. So just getting through,
that's a grind.
Yeah, just getting through the 1 year by itself was difficult. Okay, let's see. We got a comment here. Let's see what this comment says. It says, I wouldn't be surprised if Undertaker gets buried alive by the Fiend to finally retire for good. That's an interesting take. What do you think about that?
Oh, that I wouldn't. Yeah, I would be surprised at that too. But anything could happen, and I think at WrestleMania, eventually we're probably going to get at WrestleMania in Tampa this next year, something with Undertaker. But buried alive, no way. Taker's got it.
Yeah,
it's his match.
So anyway, let's talk about that. So we got they challenge for the SmackDown, or sorry, they challenge for the tag team titles in a buried alive match, and then did they challenge on that show, or did they just issue the challenge on that show?
They issued the challenge on Raw, and then later in the night it got accepted for the next SmackDown.
Okay,
on September 9th.
Yeah, so that SmackDown is September 9th, 1999. We have the WWF Tag Team Championship Buried Alive match, which is Rock and Mankind versus Undertaker and Big Show. So how does that match go?
A buried alive match, especially a tag team version. This was a heck of a match to watch because you're seeing Mankind and Rock, the Fiend buries Undertaker alive at WrestleMania. That's funny, Matt. So yeah, that might be a good way to end his career. But
yeah, so Matt says, what an ending to his career if the Undertaker and the Fiend had a match at WrestleMania and the Fiend actually buried the Undertaker at WrestleMania, which is the Undertaker's show, because obviously the win-loss record there is classic. But
so that would be a very interesting match, but of course, I think Undertaker would have it. Would bury the Fiend alive, and it would be a good way to end his career. It's like, you know what, I'm done. And the Fiend would more than likely come back even more evil and crazier than ever. Nobody likes Michael Cole. True. That is true. No one likes Michael Cole anymore, especially after that coal mine. But so we get to SmackDown, the tag team buried alive match. That match was a great match. Go watch that match. You get to see, the Big Show in a buried alive match. And yeah, I'd be thinking that, the SmackDown set, and then right next to it was the grave site. It was just a grave, no tombstone like with Austin and Undertaker or Mankind and Undertaker. That it kind of felt a little bit less, but you still knew it was like a buried alive match. But you gotta think, how the hell is someone gonna bury the Big Show in that grave? He too fluffy and too big to get in
Yeah,
there.
you might have to get a forklift or a or something of that caliber to move him because
You would
at
need
this
a
point,
backhoe for that.
yeah, he's what 550 pounds or something like that
Mm-hmm.
at this time. Giant dude.
Yeah. So eventually, I mean, we get to see Big Show literally just like tossing a sack of flour from the stage, tossing Mankind, who bounces off the dirt, off the flat grave and bounces into the hole. That's a sight right there, just to see a 7 foot tall, 500-pound man toss a bulky Mankind and send him for a ride to talk that ends up in putting him in the grave,
Right.
figuratively, unfortunately. But uh, Big Show event starts to bury Mankind alive. Starts to the key word as he's gloating and everything. You see in the back Triple H come out, and he's got a little friend in the name of Sledgehammer, and
His best
proceeds
friend.
to his
The
best
only
friend.
the only friend that he's ever been true to is that Sledgehammer.
The one that will never betray him.
Exactly.
But besides this, he decides to bash the Big Show and knocks him out cold on top of the grave site, and then starts to proceed to bury the corpse of Mankind that's still in the grave alive. And you gotta be thinking, wait a minute, why is Triple H burying Mankind? It's supposed to be, Undertaker and Big Show versus Mankind and Rock. And they're supposed to, they're supposed to bury each other alive. Well, obviously, with Mankind in the hole, you got to think, as long as he's in the grave and Big Show and Undertaker are not there, this will allow it. So Triple H just continues to bury Mankind alive until the official rings the bell and makes it official and gives the tag team titles to Big Show and Undertaker. And he continues to do it. It's even after the bell rings and just gloating like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the one who I'm still doing. I knocked out Big Show. It's like, just gonna go over and check, make sure he's still knocked out. But Rock and Undertaker, are fighting off in the back. They're nowhere to be seen.
Right.
To where now we have an ambulance coming out to check, I guess to check on the Big Show because he's knocked out from that sledgehammer shot to the back of the head. Well, Hunter's like, okay, I'll help these guys out a little. But he gets a very, very cold surprise.
A rude awakening, rather.
A very, actually, you should know this because this is what is the one thing you never do to someone out to a very specific animal outside that you can't see, and you start to hear a rattle. What do you not do?
What do you not do? I don't know. What are you hinting at here?
You do not piss off the rattlesnake.
Oh, okay, that's where you're going. I was like, what?
Because now it's time for the payback. Austin is back and decides to take his gets his revenge on Triple H from SummerSlam and proceeds to beat the living hell out of him, on the gravesite, on the gravesite, and just to stuff him into the back of an ambulance.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I knew you were talking about Austin as the rattlesnake, but I was like, man, even in real life, if I'm outside somewhere and I hear a rattle that is like a rattlesnake sound, First thing I'm doing is like, nope, I'm not supposed to be here. So Triple H should have taken a page out of my book and just taken off running, and he probably wouldn't have got the beat down that he got.
More like just back away slowly. It's like
Yeah,
I'm heading that way. I'm heading towards Mexico. I'm heading to California if you need me. but
right, for sure.
but yeah, the rattlesnake strikes back. He attacks Hunter and stuffs him into the back of an ambulance and decides to drive off in that ambulance, but not far. Far enough to park it and, well, go get behind the wheel of a not fully equipped 18-wheeler, but a semi truck, a big, what I'm talking about, the big truck, the big
Yes,
semi
sir.
truck, but with not with any loads on the back, attached, just the truck part,
Just the
and
cab
decides
itself.
the cab, and just decides to rev it up and full blow go towards Triple H and the ambulance sideways and T-bone the son of a gun.
Yeah, he smashes that thing. We got a little thing here. Wherever you run, make sure you stop to get a nitro cold brew with sweet cream, and make sure that you never stop. Well, you don't have to worry about that, because if I get my hands on one of those bad boys, I'm for sure running a long distance, and I don't think I would stop for a while. So we have no problems there.
This part of the
Oh,
episode is now brought to you by the Nitro Circus Brew of Starbucks. Wherever you're at, get your Starbucks right now. This cheap
yeah,
pop has been
dude.
brought to you by the Flex Network and Matt Flex Mike. Thank you very
All right.
much.
So
Click.
okay. So he gets the semi truck. He T-bones the ambulance with the semi truck, right?
Several times.
Yeah, and so the show ends, and then we move to the following Raw, September 13th, 1999, and we see a McMahon come out and make a few matches, right?
Correct. We see, well, not Vince McMahon, of course. We don't see. Sorry, Matt. Nitro Circus. Yeah, I'm. Yeah, don't. It's just cuckoo, cuckoo. So we don't see a Vince McMahon. We don't see a Shane McMahon, and we sure as heck are not going to see Stephanie McMahon because she's still scared out of her mind from almost getting married by Undertaker. But we see a CEO and named Linda McMahon, the patriarch, in which she decides to come out and make a couple of matches, make a couple of announcements, in which we're going to finally decide, get a true number one contender for Triple H's World Wrestling Federation Championship, and makes a 5-man, no holds barred, number one contenders match. And the winner will get their opportunity at Unforgiven. And the competitors will be Big Show, The Undertaker, Kane, The Rock, and Mankind.
So basically, everyone that Triple H has pissed off over the last month or
Several
so.
weeks, over
Yeah.
the past month, he's
Yeah.
been pissing off. They have an opportunity to get a championship match at Unforgiven. And yes, Matt, I now realize it's Nitro Cold Brew. That's now the drink of Flex Mike.
It yeah, it has always been. When I have important things that I need to do, or if I'm just trying to be juiced up for no reason, yeah, you got to get you one of those. So as the snowman shines off some orange Coke over here.
Yes, the orange Coke, the fuel of a snowman. Oh, okay. The cheapest plug I can ever give is now done. So,
Okay.
and the second match of the night, the second announcement of the night for Linda McMahon is to give Stone Cold Steve Austin his opportunity, his rightful opportunity at a rematch for the WWF title against Triple H, because he was never given his proper rematch after losing at SummerSlam. So if he decides to show up tonight on that Raw and he wants his title match, he will get his title match. Well, Triple H is not liking the decision she's making, and it's like just not. It's like he's not going to be showing up tonight, that kind of thing, because he's scared of me. But we'll get to more of Triple H and Linda in a little bit, because we now have a 5-man no holds barred match we need to talk about. And this, you want to talk about a prison riot there, Mike? This was
Right.
the definition of a prison riot, because you've got 5 men who are known for destruction and chaos. And you throw them in a no holds barred match. Attention, we need more security guards at the office. We need more security guards to attend these wrestlers, because it's getting chaotic in this place. Good God.
Yeah, that match was wild. I mean, you pretty much have your top 5 guys right now as far as like main event talent right now that are going in this match. And I mean, I watched it yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, these dudes are all like, first of all, they're all like either Hall of Famers or will be Hall of Famers at some point. And it's just like, it's incredible, dude. That match was just off the wall, insane. And it's exactly how you describe it, meaning like, oh, you want to talk prison riot? This is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was so much of a riot that referees were getting knocked out. Literally, the people in charge of maintaining law and order in the squared circle are getting knocked out.
Right.
And now you get, after several referees are getting knocked out by these guys, the last one just like it runs down. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not staying. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
You all can fight. Y'all can fight amongst each other. I'm out of here.
Right.
So that situation, leads to, I mean, we have no winner now, because this match is basically done. I mean, they're still fighting, but we have no number 1 contender.
Right.
That we know of yet. I will begin to that. So now we get to the end of the night where Triple H is calling out Linda again. It's like, this match is not going to happen. Austin's not getting his title shot, and just to see, proceeds to, bulk up and try to intimidate Linda. But you got to realize something. She may be a nice motherly figure for the company, but you got to remember what her last name is and what job title she has.
And who her husband is and who her kids are and all those things.
Yeah. She's not only a CEO of this company, she is a McMahon. Because now you're going to get dad, husband coming down. You're going to get Vince coming back. And it's like, hey, who the hell do you think you are? I know I would not interfere in WWF business. I gave my word, but this is not business. This is personal. And proceeds to want to fight Triple H. Vince McMahon wants to fight Triple H. Well, before he could start going to town on, Triple H, glass breaking. And here Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and wanting his title shot, literally beelining for the ring while Triple H is struggling to get his leather jacket off, and just decides to go to town. And we have our Austin rematch for this title that he never got. We get his title rematch, and that just ends up being a Pier 6 brawl, a Donnybrook, a slobber knocker. But unfortunately, Triple H gets his title. He retains his title because of a count out, because Austin didn't care, obviously, that night about getting the title back. He just wanted Triple H's ass.
Right. He just wanted to he wanted to get his hands on Triple H and serve a little beat down himself, right?
Yes. So, but this is going to eventually, but as I said with the refs getting knocked out in the riot, in
We,
the number one contenders match riot, that eventually leads to the referees, the WWF officials, to go on strike. Can you imagine referees going on strike?
yes, yes.
Especially
I
in
remember
this
the
day and age.
NFL. I remember the NFL when the referees were on strike. So yes, I really can imagine that.
Yeah, but can you imagine if NBA referees went on strike, if baseball umps went on strike in the middle of seasons? It's like, what the hell? But referees that get are supposed to maintain law and order
Right.
in the ring, if you wouldn't expect that in '99.
Right.
Referees, going on strike. And it was, just like, okay. So now we have a situation between now and maybe the end of the month where you see on Raw, on SmackDown, referees outside the arena in a picket line. WWF's unfair. We're not, we shouldn't be abused. And it's like, really, guys? This has been, I guess it's been a long time coming. So now we get to the SmackDown. We're in the home stretch of this, rivalry, of this storyline. We're in the home stretch, and Triple H is now again going to call out Vince. He's going to call him out. And it's like, you want a piece of me? Come on out here. And eventually gets him out there. It's like, you know what? I'll want you to be a hero for your old lady. I'll even put the WWF title on the line to face me. And it's like, no. Vince is telling Hunter he's like, no, because he can't be involved. He's not, contractually obligated not to be involved in WWF affairs. Well, he gets goaded into this. So now we have I guess a scab referee, or sorry, Shane McMahon is special guest referee in this. He's out there in not a referee's, shirt. He's out in a WWF Attitude shirt, a big one. And he's going to referee a match between Vince McMahon and Triple H for the World Wrestling Federation title. Let me reiterate. Vince McMahon is now going to wrestle for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. You have the owner of the company going for his top prize. As a fan, Flex Mike, how do you see that, panning out? That you have the boss, the guy who's run the company for the long, as the owner, challenging your top guy for the WWF title. How the heck do you see that?
It's kind of
Ever
like
happening?
it's kind of like if you've ever like fought your grandpa, you're like, man, this is sorry, but like I got like 50 years on you. Like I'm gonna beat you down and it's gonna be embarrassing. And Triple H is probably in that moment thinking the same thing, like, oh, I'm just gonna embarrass him and drag him all across this ring and in front of everyone. And he's got all that on his mind, like, oh, I'm gonna remember every time you made me do something that I didn't want to do. And I'm going to remember every time you didn't pay me as much as I felt like I deserved to get paid and all that stuff. And so I'm sure he was just in his mind thinking, like, I'm just going to beat down this guy and it's not going to matter. And I'm going to be allowed to do it because he accepted this match. So there's nothing that he can do. He cannot fire me. He cannot sue me. He can't do anything because this is all within the confines of this agreement for this match. So I'm going to be able to do whatever I want. Like, honestly, how many people were like, I would love to fight my boss right now? I mean, I personally wouldn't because I like my boss, but other people probably feel like they would want to like beat down their boss at work. So
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, it's funny.
this is like something of a wet dream for a lot of people. But now, we get during this match, Vince McMahon gets just abused. Like you said, he gets abused. The boss is getting abused to a degree where he's now getting hit with steel chairs. He's getting busted open. He's getting elbow drops through the announcer's table. And Triple H thinks he has this thing all sewn up. And, he's almost ready to, he's mocking, Linda McMahon comes out and it's like frantically saying, like, stop this match. And it's like threatening to like continue to beat him up and, put the nail in the coffin. But what happens is that we get another breaking of glass. And when you hear the glass, someone's ass is getting stunnered.
Oh yeah, it's on its way.
Because here comes Austin. And Austin decides to beat up Triple H again. And this time, stun him and decides to pull a lifeless arm over Hunter's body, the arm of Vince McMahon, and hightail it out of the ring, while Shane McMahon slow counts it to where 1, 2, 3, and Austin Milf gives McMahon the bird, or gives Triple H the bird, and knows he just cost Hunter his World Wrestling Federation title and gave it to Vince McMahon.
And he loved every second of it. He did.
Yeah, we end the show with Vince McMahon celebrating with the Stooges, with Shane and Linda in the ring. Just this, like, I won this? Okay. Dazed and confused and bloodied, but we end SmackDown with Vince McMahon as the champion.
Yeah, okay. So then from there we move on to Raw, September 20th, 1999. What we have there is Vince, right? He vacates the title.
He comes out and you see him in his coat and everyone knows he's the champ, but he comes out in his coat. It's like, just kind of serious. He gets in the ring and you hear Lillian Garcia, or you see him unbutton the coat and it's like, yeah, I'm the champ. It's like you hear Lillian Garcia introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the new World Wrestling Federation champion, Vince McMahon. And it's like and there's a pop as Bill. It's like, wow, we months ago we were booing this guy out the building. Now we're cheering for Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
and it's like
he's the unlikely hero in that moment. So
but of course, because of his contractual obligation from Fully Loaded, with due to him losing the bet between Austin and himself in the First Blood End of an Era match at Fully Loaded, he cannot be involved in WWF business. So he is there on Raw to vacate the title, which will bring out Stone Cold, and decides to basically tell Vince, it's like, you know what, this place, I could speak for myself, but this place has not been the same without you, you silly bastard. And it's like, you could take that as a compliment. It's like, okay.
Right.
But with what I'm understanding is that with you taking yourself out, hold on, let me back out. Because I guess I get like on Livewire or Superstars, it was announced that the World Wrestling Federation title at Unforgiven will be contested in a 6-pack challenge with Undertaker, The Big Show, Mankind, The Rock, and the now champion at the time, Vince McMahon. And Kane will be in this match. Raw happens. Vince vacates the title, and Austin comes out. It's like, okay, if you're gonna, with you taking yourself out of the match at Unforgiven, that leaves a spot open. And nobody like myself knows a 6-pack better than old Stone Cold Steve Austin. So what I'm proposing is that I will take your. So what I'm proposing is I take your spot in the six-pack challenge, and I will reclaim my World Wrestling Federation title. Well, before we could get an answer from that, we get Hunter. And he's gonna, of course, whine and complain and say that both of you took from me. You stole my gold like thieves in the night. I should be in that six-pack challenge match because I deserve it. I should be in that match. And unfortunately, because he can't, I can't put, cannot put you in that match, Austin, because I cannot be involved in WWF business because damn well the contract we signed at Fully Loaded, Stay of the Undertaker, didn't defeat you, that I was going to be on the sideline. Well, after that, we get Shane McMahon coming out and it's like, Triple H, last on SmackDown, when you put your hands on me, I just need to get physical. So now, tonight, Triple H, like my mother said on SmackDown, Triple H, you dug your own grave. Now you got to lie in it. Because tonight, it's going to be you and Chyna in a tag team match against both Shane and Vince McMahon because the McMahon boys want to get them some. And Vince is like going to be like shocked and like looking like, what the heck is that boy doing? I didn't know he was going to do that. You get Austin is now saying, it's like, hey, when are you going to let that hot-headed son of a bitch of your son, run your company? Why don't you grow a set and take back your company?
Right.
and Vince can't because of the contract. Well, if your lawyers had read the contract, you know that there's one son of a bitch that can reinstate your ass, and that one son of a bitch is me, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So what I'm proposing is I'll reinstate your ass right now if you grant me my World Wrestling Federation title shot. Well, Vince thought over for about 2 seconds and said, well, I guess I'm going to have to reconsider myself reinstated because you got your title shot. But it will be at Unforgiven, or it'll be after Unforgiven.
Yeah,
because you will meet the winner of the match, and I'm not rewarding him or anything, but Triple H, you're gonna be in that match because there are five other guys in there that want to kick your ass more than me and Shane McMahon tonight.
Right.
But of course, Triple H thinks he has to get the last words. Like, you know what? Screw you, Vince. It's like, oh no, screw me, Vince McMahon? No. It's screw you, Triple H, because since the referees are on strike, guess what? There is now an enforcer in the six-pack challenge, and his name is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I bet that was just
icing on the cake.
Ears.
Icing on the cake for a main event at Unforgiven. But and that was, we get the match later in the night with Shane and Vince versus Hunter and Chyna. And unfortunately, Vince gets blocked in his, locker room thinking Hunter's going to get one over on Shane and Triple H, or it's Shane and Vince. But we get Shane and Vince, or we get Shane and Test, his soon-to-be brother-in-law, because he's going to be attempting to marry Stephanie McMahon. And that was an okay match. So,
attempting to marry.
Potentially later.
Yeah, we know about that.
So we're going to go into the final SmackDown before Unforgiven.
Okay, so SmackDown, September 23rd, 1999. Vince makes Triple H run the gauntlet, right? By facing everyone in the six-pack challenge.
Yes. Basically, he wants to inflict a lot of pain on Triple H.
Yeah, so for the listeners that don't know what a gauntlet match is, you start one-on-one with someone, and as you beat people, a new person comes out immediately after that match is over, right?
Well,
Is that
yeah,
how that works?
that's a general, gauntlet match. But tonight was a special one because it wasn't, he wasn't going to be staying in the ring the entire night. There was, he would have a match, go to the back and do something, another match would, different match would happen. Then he would come
Oh,
back out later. So
so he
there
had a
was, he
gauntlet
was a
over
different,
the period of the show.
the entire show.
Yeah.
So Vince McMahon decides, you know what, tonight you're going to face all 5 of your opponents at Unforgiven. And it's like, oh, no, not collectively, but individually. And we get, Vince and, making stipulation matches with each of these opponents. So Triple H is going to face The Rock in a Brahma Bull Rope match against The Rock. And then how about way back in the bowels of the building, you take on in a boiler room brawl, Mankind. And then how about you face you face the Undertaker tonight in a casket match.
Right.
And then just to throw a little bit of a cheap pop for where they're at that night, because I know that you're likely to burn in hell, but I think tonight's going to be a very enjoyable one, is because you might be literally burned to a crisp tonight here in Dallas, because you will face Kane in an Inferno match.
And there's a good chance in Dallas that night it was about 1,000 degrees, because that seems to be how it is around here all the time.
Oh yeah. And then least to forget, in a special choke slam challenge, you will face off first against The Big Show. And you don't need to win all these matches to keep your slot at Unforgiven. How about 3 out of 5? You got to win 3 out of your 5 matches to keep your spot.
Okay. Not impossible,
but somewhat doable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help that when you got to face The Big Show in a chokeslam challenge. Nope, that's a loss. And
okay,
he lost.
Hold on. Let's run through. So he's got the Brahma Bull rope match with special referee, right?
Well, his first match of the night was The Big Show and the chokeslam challenge immediately after Vince had made his announcement in the ring with Hunter. Yeah, I also did too on my notes, but Big Show wins the match, obviously chokeslams Hunter, so he's 0-1. Okay. Next he's going to face.
So is that the first to put a chokeslam on someone wins a match?
Yep, first person to chokeslam your opponent wins. And that was a loss, because obviously you're not going to choke slam The Big Show when you're Triple H's size and you're looking up. And I'm like, oh crap. So after the Inferno match, which we have with Kane, yes, an Inferno match. The first person to catch your opponent on fire wins. And the ring is surrounded by fire. Kane loses this match, so Triple H is now 1-1. And thanks to a distraction from the Undertaker in busting up X-Pac, his tag team partner at the time, and his friend, Kane loses this match by getting his hand caught on the fire, and his hand's on fire as he's running up to console his buddy. So Triple H survives that. We get
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, his hand gets caught in the fire, and they put out his glove essentially on the ramp while he's because he's not carrying, obviously. So after this match, we see in the backstage area Undertaker, Viscera, and Mideon, the remaining members of the ministry, is like, okay, we've done our damage. Let's go out. Let's leave and go into the night. Well, Vince is like, hey, you got a match with Triple H in a casket match. It's like, no, I don't. I'm out of here. and Vince is like, hey, if you're not going to participate in this casket match, I don't see you participating in this Sunday at Unforgiven. Well, I guess I'm not going to be participating in a whole lot of things around here. And that's the last time we see the Undertaker, because now he's nursing. He went off to get surgery on his groin because he was nursing at this time at least what we were hearing is that he had a groin injury leading up, and now he had to go away. And this will be the last time we see him until he returns in 2000 as a different persona.
So commenter said, was this all in one night? Yeah, we talked about that
Yes.
earlier. All those Vince told Triple H that those were all stipulations in a gauntlet style match. But instead of being your traditional gauntlet, it took place over that was a SmackDown, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took place over the course of the SmackDown episode.
Yeah, there may have been like brief periods of like different wrestlers coming in to do a different match of the night, but the general premise was Hunter was going to be facing all 5 of his opponents at Unforgiven in one night in different stipulation matches. So now we get to the casket match, and now it's turned into a 2-on-1 handicap match with Viscera and Midian. Can't say his name right, but the 2 remain members of the Ministry. And Triple H thinks he's got Viscera, he has Midian in the casket, and he thinks he's won. He's celebrating. It's like, oh no. Out comes Shane McMahon and says, hey, unfortunately, because it's a handicap match, you gotta get both of your opponents in the casket at the same time. Match continues, and unfortunately, when you're facing 2-on-1 odds, especially when you got the Big Vis, you're gonna get flatlined. So
yeah, that's a rather large human being to do anything with, let alone scoop slam or do any type of move to. But he was a huge person.
Yep. So now Hunter is, kind of in the hole. He has to win his next 2 matches to keep his slot at Unforgiven. And he's got to face Mankind in the Boiler Room. And during, of course, it's a Boiler Room brawl. First one out, is the winner. And he asks, hey, is Mankind already in here? Thinking he was going to get an early jump on him. It's like, nope, he's already in there. And it was a good match. Great match for, to Mankind and Hunter to be in the Boiler Room. Mankind gets set, it's going to finish him off. And for some reason, you see he's climbing up, ready to drop an elbow. But, I mean, granted, he's a little too far away from Hunter. But you see someone poking with a stick to knock him through a table and glass. And Mankind gets knocked out. Hunter escapes the Boiler Room. Is now 2 for 2 or 2-2 on his Unforgiven race to get to Unforgiven. He has to win the Rocks. He has to win the Brahma Bull rope match with a now added special guest referee of a returning veteran in one British Bulldog. And for those, for people who know or don't know, this would be a member of the legendary Hart Foundation,
right?
Or the Hart with Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Brian Pillman, and the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. So this was someone of wrestling royalty, and he was wearing like sweatshirts and jeans. He was coming back in this, not like British Bulldog, like the represent the Union Jack style. So during the Rocks match in the Brahma Bull match, the Brahma Bull rope match, my bad. We thought again we're gonna get the Rock's gonna take out Triple H. He's gonna win, but the British Bulldog interferes and helps Triple H get into Unforgiven. He makes it to Unforgiven and wins the series 3-2. So he keeps his slot. And so we are now going to go to Unforgiven. We're at the end. I promise. We're at the end. The
No
six-pack
worries.
challenge match. Triple H, The Rock, Mankind, The Big Show, Kane, and now being added to replace The Undertaker, the British Bulldog, with a Stone Cold Enforcer. And this match was awesome beyond belief. You had so many different, aspects of everyone wanting to get a Triple H. And, Rock and Mankind wanting to, okay, well, I don't care if either The Rock or myself win, but as long as Triple H, as long as we remain, as one half of the greatest tag team, The Rock and Sock Connection, we'll be okay. It's like, it was a great match to watch. Go watch it. It was awesome. At this point, we have a scab referee, one of the a regular referee who crossed the picket line as a scab referee. And during the match, near the end of the match, you see all the picketed referees, the refs on strike, come out. It's like, hey, what are you doing? This is, you're supposed to be with us. You and everything. And eventually pulls them out. It's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like you're supposed to be with us, and decides to beat him up, just to go to town and just, it's like, and you have Austin, who's the enforcer, who's on color commentary. It's like getting over there to like beat up the other referees. Especially with, after drinking for a little bit with his beer, and just decides to go to town on all these refs. And, now he's the sole person to make the count. And we get, into a situation where it's down to Triple H, the Bulldog, The Rock, and we get, Austin's, gonna stun, Bulldog after he clocks The Rock with a chair, and Triple H pedigrees The Rock. And now Austin has to make this count on Triple H to basically count him to the title. And unfortunately, he has to. He's the last, he's the enforcer. He's got to do it. So we get to Austin basically handing the title to Triple H in this match. And while he's gloating and showboating in front of him, one last act of defiance, we get a stunner on Triple H. And that's how we end the show.
That's because Austin's been drinking all night. He can't help it.
Oh, no. He can't help it. But that's how we end Unforgiven. We now know that Austin will get his future title shot. And now we know who the WWF champion is. The undisputed WWF champion in his second reign, the Game, Triple H.
Well, in all fairness, also, you look at it, and Triple H at this point has kind of gone through the gauntlet as far as the amount of matches that he's gone through, and then have to turn around and face all of the wrestlers that he just wrestled in one match at Unforgiven. Like, that's a
huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's like a big task to kind of
you're going through six people, or basically you're going through five people in one night, to turn around and face them all again in one match. That is someone that will be turning into the Game. That is someone you want as your top star, because he can handle it.
Right. Totally. And so that's really where we'll end it right there. The Unforgiven, the conclusion to Unforgiven 1999. That's where we're going to end that storyline. But
that whole build up for Unforgiven was awesome. If you have when you get a chance to go on to the network, or even go on YouTube and watch the the official promo for the pay-per-view, because on the network it's got the I want to say the network version, the dubbed version. Go on and watch it. It's got some great music with it that hypes up this one match. It's
Right.
awesome, and it gives me goosebumps every time I watch it.
Yeah, and at this point, if you're not a WWE Network subscriber, like, come on, man. Give it
It's
the
cheap.
program, do the thing here. It's $10. It's not going up every 2 months like Netflix.
Oh
So
yeah, it's $9.99. But
yeah,
you get your first month for free. You get free pay-per-views every
yeah,
month. So for your first month. So it's awesome. You guys get to see Raw, SmackDown, additional content as it comes out, even other promotions like WCCW, ECW, Saturday night's main event. There's a
right.
lot of great stuff. So
So Snowman.
it's our cheap plug for the network because we're wrestling. We love wrestling. We like watching it.
So to end it here, Snowman. Today's is the top 15 WWE storyline. This is number 13. So
Yes.
how about you give us a hint at what number 12 is?
Oh, this is going to be a good one because we're actually going to get into a area. We're going to 97 on this next one. We're going to 1997. And we're going to get to we're still actually we're still going to be at SummerSlam, but we're going to even go further because we're going to be talking about a showstopper, a dead man, and the road to the very first I gotta get this right. Hell in a Cell. The
Okay,
first
well,
one.
the
The
first
inaugural.
Hell in a Cell ever.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go for the listeners and the viewers and all that. We want you tuned in to listen and everything to hear what the Snowman's got for you. So he teased number 12 there, so we'll be back on there, and we'll be doing all that. But Snowman, where can the people find you at?
On the Twitter, on the AJ Dead Snow, AJS Dead Snow. I'm on Twitter and on the Flex Network, of course. Guys got wrestling questions, want some wrestling knowledge, hit us up.
Mm-hmm.
We will answer it. We we got you covered. And of course, we are getting ready for football season with Flex Mike at the helm and Flex Matt at the helm with fantasy football. So we're going to be talking, I guess, a lot about football as the weeks roll on as we get into the season. This is our last week for preseason. It's week 4 of preseason. We're almost to regular season. I will be at the Raiders and Seahawks game tomorrow. I will be there watching it. So I will be
Okay.
getting my football fix before
Yeah, so
college.
not just that, but like big time college football starting tomorrow. There's a bunch of games. I know that Oregon is playing Auburn tomorrow at
Mm-hmm.
AT&T Stadium in my neck of the woods over here. So I'm
And,
not sure how many. I'm sure that place will probably be like full of Auburn fans as opposed to Oregon fans, but
oh yeah.
we'll find out.
Well,
Should
even
be pretty interesting.
well, as you say with college football, how fun was it that we got to actually see on week 0 at Walt Disney World, Old Crimson being flown again to start off our season.
Yeah, we kind of hinted at that last week because we talked about it a little bit. But yeah,
We didn't.
man, they actually got it in there. I'm not sure if someone got arrested or fined or kicked out or something, but they got it in there and it flew. The streak still stands, and so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what's going on.
Yep. Where's College Game Day this week? Are they going to be at AT&T,
Hmm.
or are they? I forgot where they're going to be this week.
I'm not quite sure. I actually don't know, so I would have to look that up. But I don't
Uh,
know off the top of my
but
head. So
but we do know. Old Crimson is going to be there. We're gonna keep that streak alive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's Washington State pride. It's Washington State Cougars pride right there.
Yeah,
It's
always.
part of college game day now.
For sure. And so just so everyone knows, the Flex Network is all over social media. We're our two main places you can reach us, obviously on Twitter at the Flex Network One. That is the main spot. We're putting out a lot of content there. All of us who are on these shows are running that Twitter account, from fantasy football topics to wrestling to football to college football to it's all on there. We're all over it. And then the Facebook page is active as well. We're doing a lot of things on the Facebook page. If you're a listener of this podcast or you tune into these videos, check out our stuff. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Also follow us on if you're an Apple Podcast person, give us a like, give us a 5-star rating. The more 5-star ratings we have, the better. It helps other people find us and helps us be at the top of these recommended pages, recommended by category or whatever. It helps us get to the top of those. So that's just something we're really interested in. We want to continue to grow the show, be so good. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And so we're going to keep moving. Next week, we'll be back with number 12 storyline of top 15 WWE storylines. We'll be back with that. So stay tuned for that. Matt and all those guys will be, Matt and Shane and Seslowski will be back for the fantasy podcasts and stuff like that. So they'll be putting their stuff out on Sunday. So anything else you want to say, Snow, before we sign off here?
No, I mean, I think you just covered it all in one sentence. I mean, everybody's putting out stuff, here on the Flex Network. We want to grow this thing. So, if you see this video, if we share it to you, we want you to share it with others. We want the Flex Network to grow. We want this thing to be spreading as far as it can go, even past that, because we want to give you guys, content, with with football, right now through the season, and then with wrestling, we want to be somewhere where you guys want to come to listen to and watch, because we want to do this. We're having fun with this. We want to just do something for you guys, and this is it. Right. So this is right. Fun for us, but we want to make this thing the best as we can be, and that's what we're doing by giving you the best content we can. So Flex Mike, I think this is where you will take us home, because nothing left.
Okay. As for the Snowman and for myself, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll be back next week. Until next time, Snowman. Peace.
Peace.